Ford has just alerted the entire automotive industry and all us car buyers what 2023 is going to look like. Can we expect rebates? Can we expect a lot of price increases? And as such, should we be buying or thinking of buying or thinking of ordering vehicles right now? So what's going on with the microchip shortage? What's going on with prices? Ford is letting us know in, well, what Jim Farley's been saying for the Q4 profit and revenue results, as well as scheduling notes for Ford models. So this is letting the whole market know really where we're at in regards to supply and demand, which is what's dictating these price increases. And I've got a really good idea of what we can expect for 2023. So we can expect a lot less dealer markups. And most people are saying we can really expect prices to go down, drastically. And that's really not the case. And we're going to talk about why, and it relates directly with what 2023 new vehicle supply is going to look like. And what new vehicle supply is going to look like is going to dictate the prices on used vehicles and the values on our trades. Some of us, like myself, I'm Johnny from Johnny's Car Care and Reviews. Please like and subscribe to not miss out on any important information to help save you thousands. But I like to change vehicles extremely often. Often is sometimes 3-4 times a year I'll have new vehicles go through the yard, and sometimes much more than that. I used to have 7 vehicles on rotation and all of them being switched roughly every 3 to 6 months. I've calmed down a little, but let's talk about how Ford is really alerting the entire automobile market for what we can expect. And actually, Jim Farley said something very telling, and we're going to be talking about that in just a moment. But he actually went against what he originally said. Originally said that in early 2023, the microchip and semiconductor chip shortage should ease up, start coming to an end. And just recently, he basically said that the constraints and the supply issues, there's no foreseeable end, just meaning, we can't put a date on this. Does this mean supply is going to be unbelievably low and, dealers are going to be doing markups, and we're going to see some of the crazy things we've seen in 21 and 2022? No. I'm going to tell you why. Now is not a bad time to buy, and prices are not going to be drastically dropping. So listen in. We know it basically from what's getting scheduled at Ford, or I should say why some things aren't getting scheduled at Ford, lets us know that there's still a shortage problem. So let's say you're looking at basically most Fords with the tailgates, on the SUVs, the hatchbacks. They're kind of like hatchbacks, the SUVs with hatches. Normally, the higher trim models would have foot activated tailgates. Now, they still go up and down electronically. You don't have to physically move them. You've got the button on your key fob, but they're not being activated by the foot. And there's a whole lot more. There's been a lot of good news, like the Mach-E Select getting a cold winter package free of charge, so getting the heated steering wheel and heated seats back. But that's only because they've relocated some of these microchips. Just like right behind me, you've got the Ford Maverick. Well, the Ford Maverick, it seemed like the semiconductor shortage for semiconductor chips were getting so much better because, Lux package was no longer horribly constrained. If you have a Ford Maverick on order, you know that if you ordered a Ford Maverick with luxury package for the last year and a half, you weren't getting constructed, or quite possibly haven't been constructed yet. Some did, but many didn't, because they had the luxury package. Now, there is room for more people to even switch to luxury package. But it's not because there's a whole lot more semiconductor chips, these microchips, but it's because they've reallocated to this vehicle. Because Ford, I'm going to assume here, go on a ledge and assume Ford doesn't want to be seen as offering the hottest, most desirable truck at an incredible price and then just not producing it. And then demand, there's a lot of people complaining, but demand for this has been insane. Absolutely insane. It's easily more than doubled the sales on the Santa Cruz, and that's with Ford not being able to build nearly as many as they would like. So they're working on that. There have been some good news stories, like that luxury package on the Maverick. being able to add more comfort at packages to the Mach-E. So all selects will have the cold weather package, but really this also means that they're not being built right now. They're going to start, originally it was going to be March 1st. Now they've pushed that start date to April 1st. So they're really just taking from one pile and putting it into the Mach-E pile so that it can have driver auto, heated seats, passenger auto, heated seat, heated steering wheel, and memory seats. So they're just reallocating chips because there's a serious microchip issue. Now, if you have a Ford on order, we're going to be talking about the whole automobile market, but let's just talk about people who've ordered a Ford. Last week, that's from February 6th to the 10th, Ford was scheduling every model except for the 2024 model year Mustang. So check your emails. Ford generally tries to email everyone. Sometimes things slip in the crack because, the dealer didn't put in the email, so you may not get an email. So if you haven't heard from your dealer for a couple months, give your dealer a call, but check your emails and check your junk emails because everything was scheduling. So you have a chance to have some good news. Now let's talk a bit about bad news. The bad news is basically every model that has a demand for, extra cameras, higher technology. They're either not being produced or not being scheduled for production, or Ford's just straight up telling dealers, hey, let your clients know we're not scheduling this, so that salespeople can check in with their clients and say, hey, would you consider taking this other package? So here are some examples of how constraints have continued. And it's not just for microchips, because if you're a 2023 model year Bronco orderer, the Badlands with 17-inch black high gloss painted aluminum wheels with carbonized gray beauty ring, beadlock capable, that's order code 64W. They're not making any more of those. That's balanced out, meaning they're not making any more. So switch back to the regular OEM, the regular no charge mags. And they're also not scheduling the base model Everglades as well as the 7-speed manual transmission. Now, for the Outer Banks, the Wild Track, and the Badlands, they're requiring base LED headlamps removed. So you need to have the LED headlamps with LED signal lights selected to be eligible to schedule. Now, the Bronco Sport, no big surprise. The Badlands, that's the highest model with the front 180-degree camera with split view. They're not being scheduled currently because of limited availability. They're not being scheduled at all. Now, limited availability, if you want a Class 2 trailer tow package with trailer sway control. Again, trailer sway control is a technology to keep your trailer in a straight line, essentially following your vehicle, so that's not moving around and swaying. Well, that requires more microchips, more intelligence on the vehicle's part, limited scheduling. And, on a side note, cargo management system, shelf divider table. Basically, any little accessories on any Ford model, get them from your parts department. Don't order them from the factory because the factory, there's a limited supply. The factory only gets so many, and it could hold you back. Just like any bed covers on a Maverick, severely, and we'll get to percentages on that to show you how severely constrained those are. Now, same thing if you go to an Expedition, you've got issues for several things, and basically all of it comes down to added technology. For the 2023 model year F-150, keep in mind that there are definite things you should consider removing if you're on the fence about taking them. So it's going to take longer to get scheduled due to limited availability. Twin panel moonroof, Pro Power onboard, that's where you connect to have electricity on board, so in the cabin. The power tailgate, 3.3 liter V6 engine. I personally wouldn't go for that one anyways. The 2.7 liter V6 EcoBoost, which I love, had it in both my Broncos, Marie and I's Bronco. We absolutely love that engine, as well as the 5 liter V8, which we have in the Mustang. That is unbelievably reliable. Very high tech V8 engine. Fantastic. So let's move on to the Lightning. The Lightning, well, we got ours with, of course, no onboard scales. So that was removed. as well as smart hitch removal. And we also, that's gone for good. And for now, we don't have the heated steering wheel. We'll get that later. So important to know and keep those things in mind. But continuing on, there's even issues with tire availability. So they had to change what tires you get. So you need to go to the all-terrain tire to get scheduled sooner, because right now the standard tire, not available. Ford, really great on them. That was supposed to be a $1,000 charge, and they're giving that up for free to get people built, so people don't get forced to pay more. They're offering that for free. So Ford has been handling extremely well, trying to move around microchips so that people get built in a timely manner. They're starting to get pretty behind on Mavericks, so clearly they moved microchips to them. So they really increased the luxury package because so many people ordered that package. Now even Lincolns are affected. They've been removing subwoofers from Lincolns. They've, if you look at the Nautilus, you're currently not eligible to be scheduled if you have a reserve with the Lincoln Copilot 360 1.0 Plus package. Plus package, so it's the added technology. Basically, it helps the vehicle drive itself more so. And if you have that Copilot 360 1.0 Plus package, well, currently, you're not going to get scheduled. So Ford really showing off here, showing the whole auto industry that microchips and constraints are going to continue to be a problem for 2023. Not as bad as 2021, not as bad as 2022. So we're not going to see the insane dealer markups that we've seen. There's a really good reason that that is becoming, dealers marking up $10,000, $15,000 or more is going to become less and less possible, because simply two things. Manufacturers increase their price. And when dealers were doing this, well, oddly, not oddly, very much not coincidentally, trades were worth much more than they normally would be. So you could have what would have been normally a $30,000 trade being worth $42,000, $43,000, $44,000, $10,000 to $15,000 more for many models of a certain price. Generally the 30,000 plus price. These things were going for $10,000 to $15,000 more. So some dealers took it upon themselves to add on to the new, have, market adjustment fees. That way it was possible because people were still being offered a monthly payment they could digest. But right now, with manufacturers having been forced to increase their price because costs for building these vehicles went up considerably, well, with these price increases and the interest that's increased, and used vehicles being bought and sold for less, so you're getting less for your trade, and you're also buying used vehicles for less. Mind you, there was a nice little jump up in those values for February. And a lot of people are saying that that's, one and done, and the rest of the year, they're just going to completely tank. I think they're not going to completely tank. They're going to depreciate at a more normal level, but they're still going to be higher than they normally would, because guess what? We're not going back to the full yards that we've seen at dealers for the past decades. We can't go back there, because the only way that's going to happen is if a demand drastically goes down, because supply is not going to be going back to what it was. If there's a demand for 15, I won't go through the precise numbers, but demand isn't going to be as high as it was, in the top years, 2019, let's say. But demand is still going to be very high, and supply isn't going to quite meet that demand. So we're not going to have, yards that are completely bare bone. We'll have some new vehicles, and we're going to have a decent amount of used vehicles, meaning you're going to get, I think we're going to see dealer markups gone. They're not going to be possible, because with the increased MSRPs and the increased interest rates and used vehicles going, you're going to get good money for your trade-in, but not insane prices, not 10 or 15,000 more for your $30,000 trade. Well, if a dealer tries to mark up, the monthly payment just isn't going to work anymore for most people. But we're still going to be ordering a lot of vehicles, and yards are going to be low. They should be decent on the used side, but of course, if there's not a lot of new vehicles coming in, well, then there's not a whole lot of trades available for sale. But I think it's going to follow that we're going to have, relatively not full used lots, but definitely not far from full new lots. And this is going to make it so that we're going to have, prices in the new MSRPs are going to stay similar to what they are or slightly go up through the year. And we're going to have some depreciation on the used side. Jim Farley himself said that he's saying that new vehicles are going to go down by 5%. But new vehicles in 2022 were selling easily 5% across the whole board. They're selling about 5% over MSRP. So I think we're just going to be seeing them sell at MSRP, and they're going to increase. The prices on new vehicles are going to increase roughly with inflation or a little less. And I don't think 2023 is going to be a bad year to get a vehicle. The only thing that's bothering me is that higher interest rate. So of course, if you can put a cash down, that will be very, very helpful. Now, let's move over to the Super Duty. If you're looking at a 2023 Super Duty currently, Ford themselves are saying it may take longer to schedule due to limited availability. So this is going to be true across the entire market. If you want vehicles with a lot of heavy in technology, your order will take longer to get. So on the Super Duty, it's the 360 camera, the F250 with high capacity trailer tow package, the F250 with Tremor off-road package, and the F350 single rear wheel. And then in the Transit, they really tell a very telling story, because they're saying if you want, high intensity discharge HID headlamps, well, please consider removing them. So they're encouraging their dealers and their staff to encourage people not to take those, because it will create a longer period for getting your Transit. Same thing for black high intensity discharge headlamps. They're saying that it's going to take longer to get a 3.5 liter EcoBoost V6 engine, high resolution digital camera, and 360 camera with split view and front washer. So everything, essentially, most things that are, not necessary for the vehicle functioning and being a good vehicle. If they're added, all these vehicles come with a lot of technology already, and if you're adding that much more technology on it, well, they're going to save microchips to produce as many units as possible instead of just producing the most equipped and most high profit models. So keep that in mind, not just if you're looking at a Ford, but basically if you're looking at any vehicle. If you are looking at a Ford, please do consider the Ford Bronco. Currently, they're scheduling 0 Everglades series, 0 base series, and 0% 7-speed manual transmission. So right now, you're not going to get scheduled if that's what you're looking for. All accessories, try to get them from, aftermarket or your Ford store's parts department. I like to get things with my parts department and then put them in my Ford contracts, so that then, because they're part of my purchase contract with the vehicle, those parts almost always come with a warranty. So let's say I buy running boards and they chip and peel, or mags, they chip and peel, a tarp, it has an issue. Well, I'm going to claim it under warranty. So the Maverick, do keep in mind that you've got the tonneau pickup, box cover, the hard folding. Ford saying they can only produce 5% of the Mavericks with that on it. Same thing, 2% for the tonneau pickup, box cover, hard roll up. So 5% on the hard folding, 2% on the hard roll up, and the bed tray liner, 1%, bed extender, 2%, splash guards molded, 5%. Why is this? This is plastic. What's going on? Well, guess what? Globally, plastic is also constrained. So all this to say that for 2023, I'm not sitting back and waiting for prices to drastically drop, because they're not going to drastically drop. On the used side, demand could go down because their interest rates are very high. So if people start to find those interest rates too high to purchase, that is what would cause the prices to come down. But that's only going to happen based on supply. So that is an unknown factor. We'll have to see how people react. But on the new side, manufacturers don't necessarily have a whole lot of control on supply right now. But if their supply is too, next to non-existent, well, they can raise interest rates to allow that supply to build up at dealers. And while they can also lower interest rates, because many dealers like Ford have, Ford credit, if yards start to fill up, all they need to do is drop a couple percent, throughout a promotion of, 2.99% interest rates, and those vehicles will start flying off the lots again. Many manufacturers have this type of control. Many manufacturers can offer better interest rates than what you get on a used vehicle or through a bank. And as such, there'll be some supplies, but and I think manufacturers are definitely going to want to be doing that because they don't want dealers selling over MSRP. It doesn't give them 1 cent of extra money in their pockets and only hurts the reputation, because most people blame the manufacturer. Even though it's the dealer doing the markup, it's the dealer making the extra money. So don't believe a dealer that tells you that the price in the window, the MSRP, that's the price they paid for it and they need to sell it above that. That has been a common lie. I'm doing a BS busters right here. I'm busting that. That is BS. So BS on saying that the price on the MSRP, which is the manufacturer's suggested retail price, that's the price they suggest the dealer sells it at. It's not the price they pay. And, well, supplies, I really hard believe that supply on the lots, as long as manufacturers are willing to offer advantageous interest rates, we're going to see supply. We'll have some supply, but not crazy supply. So prices are not dropping drastically on the new. Jim Farley himself said 5% drop in 2023 on prices. And really that just equates to, well, the over MSRP. So I think this is really great news. We went ahead and bought a Lightning. The first time we sold our Bronco, of course, well, that was not bad at all. We drove that vehicle for, well, here's a good example. We made payments, our amount owing went down, and then we actually sold it to, we sold it to a dealer. And even in selling it to a dealer, we got a little more, actually considerably more. We owned that for about a year. So then we did sell it. We had 15,000 of equity, you could say equity, positive cash. Well, some dealers would have then tried to sell us the new vehicle for an extra 10 or 15,000. Of course, locally, that hasn't gone down at all at my local dealership. So what did happen is, I had replaced it with another vehicle. So I ended up getting the F-150 Raptor. So soon there'll be tests between the F-150 Raptor and the F-150 Lightning. And that's going to be pretty fun and exciting. So stay tuned. We're going to have some fun drag races. We'll have a little fun, find out, can the Lightning drift? How does the Lightning accelerate? How does it brake? We're going to put it through its entire paces, long-term test it. We already had one very interesting situation come up where I was thinking, okay, well, let's see if this problem is going to be a long-term problem. We have a serious problem with, something on the vehicle, or is this just a programming problem, or is this a user error problem? Because we had a problem. The F-150 Lightning wouldn't take a charge. It wouldn't accept a charge. But that problem's now been resolved, so we'll put that out quickly in 2 videos. So stay tuned. Until next time, we wish you all more cars and more power. Please do like and subscribe and hit that bell notification to not forget. Take care.